On this beautiful day, I was going to school with my aunt to rent a sewing machine because my aunt asked me a favor. So she wanted me to sew some little accessories for the bed, and I said yes because I'm the only one who knows how to sew, and she's a busy auntie, so why not? And I decided to record to show you guys a little bit of what I can do. So my aunt bought the pillows and she also bought the fabric, and the only thing that I had to do was create a pillowcase with the fabric that she gave me. So apparently she just wanted a little bit of color on the bed, and the only thing that I had to do was make the pillowcase. I started by measuring the fabric, and I'm not a professional, sewer, like I don't sew professionally, I just do it as a hobby. And I didn't have that thing that we use to measure things. I was just doing measurements with my own eyes. She really needed that. It was like an emergency, and I didn't have time to go through the details, make sure all the measurements were right. So I just cut the way I thought it was okay to cut, and it came out good. Just keep watching and you will see. I don't recommend that for you guys. If you want to do things like that, just follow the instructions step by step to avoid mistakes. I have done this for like 10 years now, like ever since I was 8 years old. I've been sewing for my toys and dolls, so I can consider myself pro, but I know that I'm not a pro. So I started by duplicating the fabric because to create the pillowcase we do need both sides of the pillowcase. So I duplicated the fabric, I cut it. That scissor was not functional at all. It literally was messing up the fabric, and I had to change the scissor, and this scissors was better than the other one, and it was very flexible to use. So make sure whenever you want to start doing things like that, you have a appropriate material, because if you don't, you may waste a lot of material, and having a good scissor is good too. Don't make the mistake of using a scissor that is not used to cut fabric because you can damage the scissor, and that's something that I had to learn along the way, and I didn't know too, but I learned by mistake actually, but it doesn't matter. So I'm here cutting on the measurements of my own eye, and that fabric right there, it's enough for 2 pillowcases, and honestly speaking it could be enough for 3, but the technique that I was using literally took a lot of fabric, and I could see that my aunt wanted more pillowcases with that fabric, but I didn't know that I could sew it by hand. Like, I'll show you guys later, but on this specific one I used the sewing machine and I used a lot of fabric. But if you sew it by hand, you can save a lot of fabric because you will literally be saving a lot of fabric. I don't know how to explain, but anyways, here I am done with the cutting process, and now I'm just creating the shape of the pillowcase. It's literally the idea of a regular pillowcase, the one that you can put on and take it out in case of what? In case you want to wash it because it's dirty. So I was trying to measure one more time to make sure the fabric was enough, checking the sizes, and honestly, I don't know. For someone who have never done a pillowcase before, I'll say that I did an amazing job, because honestly I didn't know that I had to leave space. I didn't know I needed more fabric. I didn't know that I had to start by sewing the sides. Like, there's certain things that you don't know when you do something for the first time, but this is not necessarily my first time doing this, because I also did my own pillowcases, the one that I used to decorate my friend's birthday party. for the picnic, the white and pink pillowcases, I did them. So I feel like I improved a lot on the technique that I used to sew them, and they can be removed and they can be washed and put back with no problem. But the one my aunt wanted me to do is the one that you sew the fabric in the pillow, and there's no way you can remove that unless you cut off the fabric. So I didn't want to do that because I feel like if you sew the fabric directly on the sewing machine, I mean directly on the pillow, you cannot change it. Like, you need to be stuck with that pillowcase for the rest of eternity. Whatever. So here I am starting by folding the sides because it's very important on the pillow to have that, and that's only the sides that will be seen because the other part will be sewed inside and nobody will see. English is my second language and I really don't know the name of this. In my language we call it bainha. It's like preventing the fabric from going to waste. Like, you know, when the fabric starts to remove the threads one by one. So to avoid that, you need to sew the edges, like the borders of the fabric, and after that you can create whatever you want to do. But there are restrictions and techniques for that specific process because sometimes it's better to avoid showing that you actually did that because it's a long story. For those who sew, they know what I'm talking about. And if you are into it, just watch a professional sewer, someone who does that, because I don't know many of the terms, but I know exactly what I was doing. And the whole purpose of this video is just to tell you that you can do anything you can dream, and there's nothing that can stop you from doing, because I didn't know that I could make a pillowcase. I didn't know that I could use a sewing machine to sew a pillowcase. Literally, I thought it was impossible, but I dragged myself to a sewing place and I asked the person to teach me, and voila, today I can create beautiful things like this pillowcase and this pillow. It's just beautiful. What do you think about this product? And yeah, and another technique that I was talking about literally took a lot of time, and here I am doing that technique. It takes time, but it's worth because it saves a lot of fabric, and you can sew one side, you can sew both sides, but I was only sewing one side because when you are decorating like a bed or a living room, you don't need to show both of the sides of the pillow. So there was no need on sewing both sides of the pillow. But anyways, thank you so much guys for listening to me. If you have any questions concerning this, just let me know. Bye.